Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back. We haven't recorded for quite some time.
Yes.
Mainly because we tried recording, lost all the audio. You know, it's amazing how many times you lose audio for this. You think you would get it. What's happening to my controller? Press A when you're ready. Maybe the battery's low. If it does that again, like that. Yeah, the battery's just low. Okay. Hold up, everyone. We're having technical difficulties. We'll be back in a second. We're back, everyone.
We're back.
Most controllers do not, in fact, have drift in them.
Mine are
so,
good then.
Yeah. Mine are the misbehaving ones.
Yeah.
You know, I bought that controller.
No, I think it's just mine are newer.
It's fair.
I don't think that's any
I really
reason.
hate controllers that require batteries with them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you have to replace the batteries so
all the
frequently.
time. He said.
And it just gets expensive and annoying, and I'd rather just use something, but I have to get used to this controller too. Come on. That I have access to all the time, essentially. I don't have to worry about going to the store and buying batteries. You never played the original Game Boy, right?
Nope.
That thing required 4 batteries in it, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
And so, like, that was a pack, right? Of batteries,
yeah.
essentially. So
Yeah.
every single time it died, it was like, well, no more video games for me until we go to the store.
Wow.
Yeah, we really suffered back then.
Yep. And everything. I remember a time in my childhood where literally everything took batteries. Like everything required batteries.
Yeah. And then when we went through that nice phase where you could charge your phone and it
Yeah.
would be charged for like 2 weeks.
Right.
Like, I don't know where my original phone is, but I bet you it's still alive. Like, laying somewhere in my bedroom, I can open
Just
it.
waiting for
yeah,
you.
just waiting for me. It's still loyal to this day. You know, I had my original phone, I think, for 6 years.
What?
Yeah, it was a Razor.
Oh my goodness.
Because there wasn't really a point in upgrading your phones
Yeah.
for like a really long time, right?
Yeah.
Because the newest models really weren't that superior.
Yep.
Taking photos on your phone
Yeah.
wasn't
No.
a thing back
Couldn't
then.
really do that.
No, like the
It
camera
would come out not
quality
so
wasn't good. You didn't listen to music on your phones
Yep.
too. And then the
There
newer
was
phones,
nothing to take the battery except text messaging and
Yeah.
calling.
and like when you accidentally went to the internet and had to exit out of it as quickly as possible before you charged your parents a huge bill and they got mad at you.
So I got my first phone really late. I was 17. And I actually gave it back to my parents and said I wanted the money instead. Because, like, I wasn't allowed to text people. So I was like, why do I need this? Like, I
Yeah,
don't need this.
What's the point?
Yeah, so I was literally like, I would rather have the money. And so I made them take it back and give me the money.
And the phones back then were like $20 too.
No, it was
so-
like $100.
Really?
It was like a little red flip phone thing.
Sidekick?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I liked it, but I was just like, if I'm not going to be allowed to text people, I don't care.
Fair enough. Well, back then too, you had the limited amount of texting.
Yes.
Like it wasn't
Yeah.
unlimited like today. I remember my original plan had like 200, and that included receiving
Wow.
and sending messages, right? You know that. So
Oh
this is
my
kind of my pet peeve
goodness.
today when people send me like 20 messages in a row, and they're
Yeah.
each like 1 or
Oh,
2
I
words
love
long.
doing this.
So if you ever notice when you text me like that, I will disengage after a while and come back after a half an hour where no one has texted for a long time. And it's because like, well, my issue with it is like I'm reading this piece of information, right? And I'm trying to figure out what I need to respond with.
Yeah.
And then suddenly a new text comes in, gives me new information, so my response gets modified. And when
That's
that
fair.
happens
That's
20
fair.
times in a
20
row,
times in a row.
it's like, okay, well, I'm going to let everybody figure out their business. And I'll get back to this once everyone has figured that out, and I can form
No,
a
'cause
logical
I
opinion.
definitely do that. Like, if I'm going to send, text after text after text, and they're not, like, full ideas, it's definitely me, like, thinking through something. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so
It's not like I've really completely formulated a thought. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of going and messaging things as they pop into my head. Which
Right.
is why it sounds so erratic.
right. But why would I respond to something when you haven't thought the full
Exactly.
thing yet either?
It's funny when me and Alex text, it's like that because we both do that, so it's very disjointed sometimes, which
Oh
is
yeah.
hilarious.
No, when she texts me, she definitely doesn't do the disjointed thing, and I think it's because she like secretly
knows.
knows that is a
Like, you're like, I don't do this.
yeah.
I don't do this. What is happening?
So you're carrying him over to these rocks because he's supposed to smash
He
them.
just looks like he's not doing okay.
Yeah. He probably could have walked that. That was not
Yeah.
that long of a distance.
Yeah.
So Mo, your notebook thing, no reading book thing
My
has
no
ended.
reading book thing. It has ended. It was a struggle. I included like all social media, Reddit. I spend way too much time on Reddit. Yeah, basically I was like, you can't read anything. So I tried to do all my homework. It's actually how I ended up behind in my homework for my class a little bit.
Oh wait, so you said I'm not gonna read anything, and then you still have a class going on.
Yep. And I just kind of like wiggled out of it, right? But then I kind of fell behind because I was like, oh wow, I like not doing course school. So it's done now though, and it definitely like cleared my head, which was I guess the point of it. And oh my gosh, are you cutting him?
Well, what else am I supposed to do? He's not getting up.
Gosh.
Maybe I'm supposed to get his sun going.
Wow.
I remember last time too, I just feel like I randomly smashed buttons and finally he woke up and I wasn't entirely sure what I did. Maybe the sun?
Oh.
Well, I caused
Did
morning to come
something.
around. It's too big. I can't believe I'm out of sake. Oh yeah, I need to go to get sake. I remember now.
He said, look,
I
I
mean,
really can't do this.
bro, fair.
So I'm gonna need you to help me first.
No judgment here. Oh, that's not a human being. I'm going the wrong way.
But yeah, I realized how much I just like get on social media just out of boredom, or how much I check the news just to like feel on top of things. Which, like, I don't know, it doesn't really add anything to my life.
Yeah. I do find myself scrolling through, well, I don't really scroll through things. I'll probably like scroll past 5 articles or something on LinkedIn, which I consider that a little bit better because it's supposed to be educational at the very least.
Yeah.
Like you're building your social network or whatever. Twitter kind of bores me pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in a fight with somebody, then it's fun. Facebook I got on for the first time in like at least 2 years the other day,
Wow.
and I just hate it.
Yeah, I don't like Facebook.
It just feels icky.
Yeah. Yep.
And I realized too, once you get off social media, like it does miraculous things for your mental health.
Yep.
Yay, I repaired her wheel, and now she can make sake in 5 seconds for me.
That fast?
Or maybe she was like, I am just gonna save my sake until the wheel
Maybe
comes
so.
back or something like that. There's like a lot of extra things I can do in this village. I think she calls you Snowy. Oh yeah, she does. It's a nice name. Give me that sake.
That was fast.
Or I think it was just a reward in general. You consumed rice balls.
Nice.
So, I forget what Zelda game it was. I think Skyward Sword, where every single time you would get an item, regardless of whether or not you had encountered it before, they would open up your inventory and show you exactly where in your inventory it was going. And it was so annoying.
That's so annoying.
I was like, I don't understand how this made it past QC at all. Like, someone playing the game the entire way through being like, this is the most annoying thing I've ever experienced in my life. Okay, here's your alcohol, do things. I like that little heart that came off his head right there. You know what I found myself doing a lot more recently, though? During work especially, I started listening to a lot more podcasts. And
That's a good idea.
yeah, I've been listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson and Joe Rogan more.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Rogan's interesting just because he gets, like, the variety of people. When you listen to Tyson, you pretty much know you're just going to get scientists and astrophysicists, right? So if you want a greater diversity, I find it's a lot easier to listen to Joe Rogan just because you get different content every single time. And not necessarily people you would ever agree with on issues, so you get to hear, like, both sides of the spectrum, I guess.
That's neat. Wow,
I got
just
that
like
from-
that.
Yeah.
That sake was powerful.
Yeah, I know. You're magical. It has nothing to do with the wolf standing behind you.
Can you imagine the ego you would have after you sliced a rock in half?
Yeah. With a wooden sword,
Right?
nonetheless.
I would be like, wow, I can literally do anything. With your wooden sword. He said, how? I don't understand. This is wood. The little question mark above his head.
And I like how he's just looking at his sword with just like,
Yeah,
wow,
he's like,
I really did do that. I mean, of course.
I did. I knew it was coming.
Hey, he has to have something going for him, so gotta have that self-confidence. He found his thing in life, and he's just going for it. Thanks a lot, I can start doing business again. I like how he's like, I can't get out of the village, and now he's like, let me go back into the village. This is a job for the most skilled warrior.
The most skilled warrior. This is like the intro of that Pokemon game where it's like, have I told you I'm the great champion? Have I told you I'm the undefeated champion? Remember that?
Wait, in Sword and Shield?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the guy with the Charizard?
Yeah, he just keeps coming. He's like, have I told you that I'm the undefeated champion? Did you know I'm the undefeated champion? Have you heard he's the undefeated champion?
I don't recall that happening in the game at all.
It happened all the time at the beginning.
I feel like
it was literally like 15 times in the first 10 minutes. I was like, okay, I get it. You're the undefeated champion that I'm gonna defeat.
Honestly, the Pokemon games, at some point I stopped paying attention to the dialogue.
I don't do that.
Well,
people give me cool stuff.
It was fun. I liked the dialogue in, I think it was Pokemon Platinum, when they had Loco, who was basically like this detective guy who I found interesting and cool. Although I remember the last time you talked to him in the game, he's like, farewell, we'll never talk ever again properly. And I'm just like, wow, that was deep.
Yikes.
Also,
relax, lady.
Speaking of Pokemon, the Sword and Shield game, I feel like it was only a success because of the wild area. Like, nothing else in the game was especially fun to me.
That was like, so I was not allowed to play Pokemon when I was a kid. And
of
then
course.
When I was an adult, I was just like, well, whatever, I'm an adult, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Except when the trauma hits again.
Right, and then I'm like, oh, I can't do anything. So that was like my first Pokemon game ever. So for me, that was like a super cool experience because I was like, oh, this is like, I get the battles and I get the gyms and like I understand the different leaders and their types and like it was really cool. I enjoyed every single part of that game.
I think to me, because I started playing.
It was my first one. So.
Yeah, I played Pokemon from the get-go. Like I played Red, Blue, and Yellow on the original Game Boy system. And honestly, I thought the games used to be a lot harder than they are now. And I think we talked about this a while back, but I don't think it made it onto the show. So it used to be when you got to the Elite Four, your expectation should not have been you were going to beat them the first time around. Like, you should just save on your resources, not spend money on Revive and Potion, because here's the other thing, too. Like, you cannot rebattle trainers in that game, and they didn't introduce any new trainers.
What?
So once you made your money, the only way to make more money was to beat the Elite Four, because those were the only trainers that you could go and fight again.
Wow.
Also, just slightly off topic, I love how I'm kind of bored in this conversation, and there's the dog, the main character, also asleep in this conversation. But, so you would go through and beat the Elite Four, and you would beat maybe the first one, maybe the second one, and then all your Pokemon would faint, and you do that a couple of times, and once you did that about 10 times, then you were like, okay, now I'm going to start bringing in Revives and Potions and seeing if I can make it all the way through.
That's interesting. That's different.
Yeah. It took a lot more strategizing.
Yeah.
And in Sword and Shield, they healed your Pokemon in between all the elites.
Oh, wow.
So it was...
Huh.
Like, I don't know, it took a lot of the challenge out of the game for me. Because you didn't have to crunch anymore to level up your Pokemon. Anyways, that's me reminiscing about the old game.
No, I love
I also
love
found
it.
the black and white graphics to be charming.
Aww.
Fun fact of the day, did you know The Legend of Zelda was the first video game ever to introduce saving?
What?
Yeah, so originally you had to enter in video game passwords in order to get to the point that you were at previously, which also means it was an imperfect save because it only saved at stages, so if you made it halfway through a level or halfway through a chapter, if you will, it wouldn't save there.
Yikes. I can't imagine playing a game and not being able to save, like, whenever I wanted to.
Yeah, that was a little bit before my time, even, with video games. Like, even the video games I had that had those save states, they were old already. So I played Scooby-Doo on the Game Boy, and I didn't beat it as a kid because the game scared me too much. Like, the bad guy comes out, right? And I remember specifically it was the Frankenstein.
Oof.
version of a game. And once I saw the bad guy, I was like, that's a hard no for me.
You're like, I'm good.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna go outside and be in the light.
Why is there a sad cloud?
I think those are people, but I don't think you can interact. Well, no. Never mind. That's not what it was. I'm not entirely sure what those mean.
Whoa, what is happening?
So, if you go into an impure area, you lose your abilities, and
What?
you can't fight or attack anything, really. So that's the water. It's fine if you're out in the air like this.
Wow.
Okay, saving this game here. It's so weird having to think about saving a game again because I'm so used to pretty much every video game autosaves.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall if Skyrim doesn't autosave, but I think it does.
So wait, if you go into that dirt over there, is it gonna like drain you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's technically water, too. It's like a polluted river. You're purifying this valley. I wonder if I can go around them. Nope.
You're locked in.
Have to fight them. Cool. Hit. I'm just thinking back to all the progress that we lost in this game.
I know.
And I'm just like, oh, we made it all the way past here, and then I like leveled up a bunch of different things. It's okay though, it's all good. Okay. Because the other thing too, when they're in the defensive position like that, I can't do any damage to them, so I have to hit them with a thing, or brushstroke, if you will. Oh, and there we go. There's another one. Oh, since you're at ending classes, I'm starting up classes.
Really? What are you doing?
I'm getting my associate's degree through a local community college in computer science.
Cool.
And I'm hoping to take all of it, if not most of it, online.
Yeah.
They have a couple of night classes. Oh no, it didn't purify.
What?
It's because the river's dirty. Something about the stagnant air.
I think I missed a bunch of this story stuff last time we recorded because I'm not remembering things.
Well, it's also because the screen does a 180 on you, so you can't read any of the dialogue too.
That's true.
But also, it's been a while since I took a class, right?
Mhm.
School books are ridiculously priced.
Yeah.
Even renting them online.
Even renting them, it's crazy.
So, do you find yourself preferring to read online or actually like physical books?
I prefer physical books, so when I was studying English, the books were all cheap enough because they were, books.
Yeah.
Like that you could just get for like $2 on paperback,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like we didn't have a ton of textbooks that were regularly updated and then they jack the price up by another $100. But then once I switched to psychology in the master's program, I switched to online because even though I prefer the physical copies of the books, they were just so much more expensive, and they were actually textbooks, not just like
you
Jane Eyre or some random
you actually in a
paperback.
STEM field. I saw someone posted the other day a picture of they put their TV on like 5 different textbooks, and they were like, "Look, I got a $2,000 TV stand."
Oh my gosh. Ugh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, my dad taught at a university, and he would buy the new textbooks because the university pretty much required him to use the new ones. It was not of his own free will, and he was like, yeah, there were no like significant enough changes between the different versions to really justify buying it.
With my neuroscience class, we didn't even use a textbook because my professor was like, one, it's going to be stupidly expensive, but mostly she was like, the biggest reason is that any textbook I can give you will be outdated because the field of neuroscience is moving so quickly. So we would just read research articles every week.
Yeah. Well,
on whatever the subject was.
Yeah, my personal opinion on probably 90% of books is that they should have just been journal articles. Because a lot of times I find myself reading books and I'm like, this sounds an awful lot like what I just read a chapter ago.
Yeah. Well, and
Just being
also like,
repeated.
especially in like a science field, for example, like the textbook is basically just a summary of current research.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yeah.
And so for us, it was a lot more beneficial to just read the articles.
That makes sense. And plus, you need to get used to. You're probably going to write an article before you're going to write a book.
Yep.
So you probably just need to get used to the formatting as well.
That's
and
true.
generally like what publications look like and look for. So, yeah. I mean, when I was doing my master's program, I don't know. My field was a little bit weird because it didn't require like knowing how to do a literature review, which I know sounds odd for graduate studies, but that's just how it was. So it actually didn't require all that much reading. But I also switched programs halfway through, so it was a very different experience. Should we find out what happens when I paint the sun
Yeah,
here
'cause
next time?
I don't remember this part.
At least this is a new experience for one of
Yeah,
us.
I don't remember this at all.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.